Hello and welcome back to Better Than Yesterday. My name is Michael Interviewed Josh Bransgrove. Unfortunately today I'm not joined by my good friend Daniel Hammond, who is my co-host here at Better Than Yesterday, but I'm joined by two very good friends of mine, Josh and Kayla. How are you guys doing?
Good. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Pleasure, guys. Honestly, we're excited to do this because this is a new thing we're doing here at Better Than Yesterday, which is getting on young people that we think can be of inspiration to our audience. And you guys were some of the first people that came to mind, honestly, when we were thinking about
You're so sweet.
who we can do for this kind of stuff. No problem, no, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm excited to get into this. But Josh and Kayla, how about you guys give us a brief little elevator pitch of who you guys are and what you guys do?
Ooh.
And that'll just give the people a good idea of...
Yeah, Josh, you want to go first?
You open up with the elevator pitch.
All right. So I'm basically Kayla, the success strategist. I am a mindset coach, but more importantly, I focus on activating your success brain. I basically came from a place where, I was on ADD medication, I was on anxiety medication, I didn't really know where I was going in life. And then all of a sudden I listened to a podcast by an amazing brain coach, Jim Quick, who said, humans are adaptable creatures that can reprogram their brains and they can change their programming. And that to me was, oh my goodness, I can change my whole life. I don't have to accept the way I am. So I threw the anxiety meds to the wall. Boom, didn't want them anymore. I didn't take the medication anymore. I went cold turkey on it, and I started to actually focus on how to actually learn how to focus from scratch. And I learned how the brain works, started focusing on that. And that's actually how I came into becoming the success strategist. I want to empower people around the world based on what I've learned during this journey. I mean, it's been about a year's worth of, journey. We really have achieved so much. And yeah, for me I'm so happy to share this information and allow people to really realize that they can achieve their dreams. It's so possible. I think that honestly people need to realize that there's no limitations. You really can achieve everything you want to. And that's what I'm here for.
Man, that guy on the lift is inspired now. And it was a 1 to 13 floor.
That was awesome. Appreciate that so much, eh? Josh,
Cool.
how much is up, man?
Mine will be a little bit shorter. But I don't know. Been on a entrepreneurship journey since I was 22 or so. I had my own company and gone through multiple different companies. I have something else that I'm doing now, but also one of the main focuses are 5AM, which is basically empowering people to achieve more. Kind of a little bit of a joint thing there, but we're taking the activities and you're getting connected with people. Yeah. The main idea behind the whole thing is building community and real community.
Right.
And that's what God put on my heart when He told me this is what I want you to do. That's been going for just over a year now. So it's been going well. Yeah.
Yeah, no, amazing stuff. Honestly, the way that both of you guys have brought yourself up at such a young age is exactly why I wanted to have you guys on this podcast. So excited to pick your guys' brain a little bit, get into what made you the people you are today. But I'll start off with Josh, just a question for you there about the 5AM Club. So I'm sure there's a lot of people watching this who are part of it, but even for those who aren't, how did it all start? Like, what gave you the idea for this thing? But am I right? It was about sort of the beginning of last year, right?
Yeah, it was about January. I never really had a vision or a calling. Obviously, there was a calling and vision on my life, but I never really knew exactly what that was. Yeah. And I was driving one day, and God spoke to me and said, "Listen, I want you to start a community." But it must be a real community with real connections, people that, and it's outside the church, so it's people of church and not church, or Christians and not Christians. Open community, and you're actually creating those connections. And in that, you can actually speak to individuals, and that's what he told me. I'm very good at starting things, very good at just getting off the ball. This is what you want me to do, and then run with it.
Taking that action.
I'm very good at that. Sometimes my planning side can get a little bit fuzzy, but
You've done really well.
But the nice thing is that God's faithful in when He gives you something, He's faithful to see it through.
100%.
So even in that, I just took it and started it, and then He's just given me piece by piece by piece by piece. Just that little leap of faith. I think that's what changes.
Yeah.
But that's what God's spoken to me, and I've been for a year, just over a year now, and He's just adapting and changing and molding it into what He wants to do. And it's just about, like, for example, God told me to do that. He could have told anyone to do that. I'm pretty sure there was people before that He did tell to do that, but once He finds the right person, and then just He's faithful. So it's
Amen. Yeah, man, it's been cool to see what it's like, the evolution of 5am, like, honestly, just to where it is now. I mean, now you're start off with running. I'm right, like, early on in the mornings, 5am, you guys started running. Although it's not always 5am.
It wasn't always 5am.
It started to become the 5 p.m.
It was 5 p.m. for a while. And then we migrated now. We at the 5 a.m., but we still have some 5 p.m. for the guys that just can't get up.
Sure. I struggle to get up early in the morning.
It's hard. It's hard. It takes discipline. I was out for like a week or so now, and to get back into it, I was like,
and
I haven't felt that in a while.
Yeah, and I must say, I don't want to be kind of like, I am going to be that kind of person to say that 5 a.m. has probably been one of the best things that's happened to me, just because it's forced me to get out of bed. It's been a mind over mattress thing. But not only that, it's also just, what people have achieved in that club is just amazing.
That's huge.
Your half marathon and full marathon programs with people, I mean, it's people who've just got into running. They have gone at their own pace, obviously. You're not forcing them to do awesome 21Ks, willy-nilly. But it's more of, from someone, for example, being very scared to enroll for the half marathon, and then they got to that point of where they actually they've already ran that distance and they haven't even had the race yet.
Exactly.
Sure. That for me was so powerful, because now they came to me and said, I want to do the full marathon now.
Wow.
And that's how powerful it's been, because it's not only just been a fitness thing, it's been a mindset thing as well.
You can take running, and running is so hard mentally and physically, but mentally is such a big factor in running. So in people when people break even just a 5K or 10K, it's a huge, like, I can achieve this, and even if you don't, like, say you feel like, okay, it's an achievement, but it does something to your subconscious, like,
absolutely,
you've conquered something, you get this inspiration, that's a victory. Exactly, and those small victories are so important. It builds your confidence. It gives you a whole different approach to certain things and the things you want to do.
For sure. Okay, to get a little bit nerdy about it as well, it's, for example, like there's one part of your brain which actually, through running, it actually increases its strength over time.
Sure.
So, for example, it's actually related to your memory capacity. So, for example, if you start running at an early age, you'll see that actually when you get into your 80s, you still actually have a really good memory. You don't have issues with memory issues because when you do running, it's so focused and you're so centered on actually achieving your, for example, if it's a 2Ks, 5Ks, whatever it is, it's challenging, but it's also really rewarding. Exercise is so important to the body, which is amazing. It's like our biology is so benefited by it. And you've done it in such a fun way.
No, that's so cool. That is something we focus on, and that's something we've noticed here as well at Better Than Yesterday. Is just how, like, when you focus on self-improvement as like even one aspect, it just improves the rest of your life. Like you say, starting to exercise can impact the rest of your life a lot, because it'll probably improve your sleep schedule, because you'll be more tired, you start going to bed earlier, you're waking up earlier. It's crazy how, like, it's a snowball effect of starting one thing gets you into the rest. But one question I wanted to ask, like, with the evolution of the 5am club and like all the places that it's gone and the places it's still going to go, what are some sacrifices that you've had to make, like, to get it to the point that it is now, to build it up to what it is at the moment?
That's a good question. Sacrificing free time, I think that's been a bigger aspect. I used to play a lot of games. I don't play as much games as I used to. I still do every now and then, because I think it's good to still have those enjoyments that sometimes just take your mind off things. Just for a bit. But things you just got to be careful you don't get sucked back in. So it's kind of like a balance. But I think what was your question?
Sacrifices that you've had to make, like, in your personal life, just to get the 5am club to where it is today.
I think it's more been on that on your free time.
No, I get you.
And then taking that time and spending it where it needs to be spent.
Feel it in there. Yeah. A little ad break.
Little picture of a cat break. So yeah. And then just going after that calling. But the thing is that the calling it wasn't difficult because I knew it was a calling.
Yeah.
And I was very much attracted to it, so it was very easy for me to even keep on going with it because I enjoy it.
Make those sacrifices.
Yeah, I enjoy it, which does help a lot. I mean, people talk about the motivation and discipline aspects. I obviously really enjoy when I am motivated to do things. I think discipline always is tough, but sometimes just pushing through it.
Yeah.
Even say you need to do something, you sit down, spend that 15 minutes. Once you get into it, you'll actually, okay, I'm enjoying it now. It becomes a motivation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing because you can get motivation back just through consistency. It's literally what discipline.
Very true.
Yeah, because what discipline is, people always think it's like a slap on the wrist. You're condemning yourself. It's like you're judging yourself.
It's
but
like
it's
a
like
practice,
but actually all it is that you're doing something even when you don't feel like it.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, you're just doing it because you need to do it, and by doing it consistently, you get your motivation back.
Super true.
And I think that's one of the best lessons that I've learned is that if I don't feel like it right now, I'm going to feel like it later.
So true.
But I think just in saying that, also you're not a workhorse. So,
that's also true.
You will burn out if you just hit like around the clock, keep going.
Yeah,
sometimes
extremes,
exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes I like to. So basically, I'm going through a good week. Like I'm feeling good, feeling motivated, getting a lot out. Comes to weekend, I still want to keep going. Sometimes it's maybe better just to sit back, relax, and then. But then when it comes to your week coming up again, take the Sunday. Make sure you have a certain amount of time just to recheck your brain in going into the week, so you're staying in focus. Otherwise, you get into the week again, and it could mess it up. I don't know if that does make
that's so
sense.
true. Yeah, you need that balance. We aren't robots.
No.
So it's really nice to actually get that balance, like you say. You need time to also reflect on things. It's like people who start a gym membership in Jan, they think that they have to go every day. You know, and then but the people who are the most consistent go twice a week for half an hour.
Yeah, 100%.
Because they're not overdoing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally agree with that. There's balance.
Super true. Yeah, it's something we've spoken about before as well. But great to get you guys' thoughts on it. So, Kayla, a question for you. We wanted to ask, how did your journey start? So, I know you spent a few years studying, quite a few years studying, a couple of different degrees, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, tell us, like, so, fresh out of school, 18 years old, like, what was your mindset? What were you looking at life like? What kind of space were you in?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think very much getting out of school, it was feeling
It's a tough period there.
It is, because you're trying to figure out who you are, and you're also busy following something where you think you should be following. I very much 100%, like, I did a marketing degree. I thought that, not only was it the one that's the most broad spectrum, like it can be tailored to anything. I thought that's the best direction to go.
Sure.
I kind of just went on people's, like my parents' advice and said, okay, cool, let's just do it. I mean, it could be fun, And then when I got into it, I realized it was overwhelming how much I try to put into it, and versus how hard actually first year's university was. For me, it was just crazy. I think I got burnt out because I didn't understand balance. I was like staying up till 3 a.m. studying. I was that kind of person that I really wanted to do so well that I put myself in that position. So I think when I came in there, I was trying to prove a point. And saying how I'm going to do great and I'm going to do this, and then eventually, you get into the swing of things, you get good at it. And then I think in my second final year, that's how my studies extended. My friend came to me and said, you can do subjects from different departments. Did you know that? And I was like, you can? You only decided to tell me this now?
Sure.
Because my whole dream at that time was to actually be a marine biologist. Yeah. And I didn't, that was something that I didn't follow because I didn't do biology at school. I thought I could never do it because of that. So when my friend told me that, I was like, oh gosh, I can actually live my dream. Let's go for it.
Amazing.
So I decided to go, and apply for it. And I remember this so distinctively. I went into the head office and, I said, hi, how are you? Really walked in there with full confidence, with like the academic secretary. And she just looked at me. She said, okay, right, what's your student number? I told her, and she puts it in. And she's like, oh, sorry, you missed the maths requirement by 2%. We can't accept you. And that day I burst into tears. I thought it was over. And then eventually they saw how much I wanted it, and they saw how much I really wanted to do it. So they said, okay, write a motivational letter to us as to why we should accept you. And then through that I got into the second degree, which was botany and zoology, so plants and animals.
Yeah.
But for me, must say, I think from that whole synopsis is that what you think you're going to be in 18, what you think you're going to be at 18 in your future is not necessarily where you're going to be. No, you're going to learn a lot of life choices. Yeah. You're figuring out who you are, and don't be so set in stone as to what you said at 18.
Wow.
I mean, I thought I was going to be a scientist, and at 21, I thought I was going to be an architect at 18, and then I did BCom. I thought I was a scientist at 21, and now I'm a brain strategist. So it just shows you that there's throughout your journey, you're going to find out what you're actually more drawn towards. Sure. And I think that's even with Josh's journey as well. I mean, like with you being an entrepreneur and finding what your really calling is to empower people through fitness, which is amazing.
Yeah, so it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
You never know. You never know what.
Nah, it's tough. Yeah.
I mean, I felt like quite clear when God spoke to me on what I need to be doing. But up until that point, he's obviously faithful through everything. So even though as you're going along life, like if you're going to follow that path, God will be there. He's going to be there for you no matter what. But then it's just so he's given me opportunities as I've gone along in my life. But then this was the first clear picture that I've gotten.
Yeah. All the puzzle pieces add up eventually.
Yeah. And I mean, it's like, it's not to say that you're going to know. It would be nice to know as soon as you leave school what exactly you're going to be doing.
For sure.
And you can move. Like some people do get it, but some people don't. But it's not the whole picture. I mean, a lot of people feel pressured to have a job, have a house, be married at a certain age.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's just what you call it, social pressure.
Yeah, that's social norms.
Yeah. You don't need to feel like that.
No, at all. And I think that's the biggest message to I think your listeners and to anybody at 18 is don't listen to anybody else other than the desires that you have for your life. Yeah. You really don't have to listen to anybody else, because what you could be destined to do, 5 years time, you can see the fruits of that manifesting, radically.
Yeah.
And if you didn't take that opportunity, then what next? It's the same with me. I can say with, me not to be doing science, I might not have understood more about the brain because I was reading a lot of scientific papers. I would have maybe not have grasped it as much. And my ability to research information helped me by doing science as a degree. Yeah. Everything adds up, and you should never feel like you can't go for something because you're too small or whatever. That's an absolute lie from the devil. It really is. Yeah. You can really achieve anything you wanted to, and it's all about your mindset. If you believe you can do it, you can do it.
So good, guys. Honestly, love to hear this. I'm going to be listening to this podcast afterwards, but no, it's great stuff. So speaking of mindset, something you touched on there, I know that's obviously a thing you focus on quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I saw a couple of weeks back you were in Neisner doing a business talk over there. So I wanted to ask what are some of the similarities and maybe some of the differences as well that you would say about someone that has the right type of mindset in a business aspect, and then someone that would make them a successful business person. Versus the mindset that'll make you successful in life, whether that be your mental health, your happiness, those kind of things. What are the similarities and maybe differences as well between a successful business person and the mindset of someone who is successful at life? Those two things, because business and life are intermingled, but they're not exactly the same thing.
Yes. Yeah, that's a very good question. I really have been enjoying your questions. They're quite applied. But okay, let's start with life. First of all, in terms of mindset, I would have to say the biggest rule is that you have to learn how to believe in yourself. That's like the biggest thing. And actually going for opportunities. So that's the first thing, is believing in yourself. The second thing is actually taking opportunities even when you're scared.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the time people say, but I can't do that, or like, I can't afford that, or I can't this. We're South Africans, not South Afrikaans, okay? We makaplan, and for me is that, for example, if you see a great course, which is, okay, let's say it's 5,000 Rand, but you're going out maybe, like if you go out and it costs about 250 Rand a month for you to do, imagine saving that and actually investing it towards something that can change your life. There's also amazing free podcasts and talks. I would definitely recommend is also, third habit is listen to successful material. You are the average of the top 5 people you spend time with. If you're with toxic people, you will not be successful. If you're with people who think small-minded and say you can't do it, don't even tell them your dreams. That's actually the fourth thing. Don't tell people your plans. Because often what I've realized is in the Instagram culture is that people like showing and flaunting what they've got. So you'll see a lot of people with Ferraris or like, these Giorgio Armani suits or whatever on Instagram and flaunting it and saying, the hustle. But actually the hustle is actually a broke mindset, because most of the time those people are actually having to owe money on the things they just got for that video. Yeah. They don't actually own it. The reason why they're flaunting it is because they had to buy it to prove something. Sure. Actually, wealthy people, they don't have the need to do that. Yeah, you see. They don't tell you. They're like, okay, yeah, I'll wear those suits, but I don't have to flaunt it in your face. So that's also my thing. Don't get so caught up into what you see on social media. Don't compare yourself. Definitely is the fifth thing. Yeah, don't compare yourself, because what you can do and invest in yourself can be so much more important, and you can achieve so many more great things than what you see on social media. Social media, you can really reduce your time on. Really focus on podcasts that are successful, which links to point 3. Sorry, it's a bit intermingled there. But yeah, that's basically my thing for lifestyle, is that you have to create a routine of actually listening to success, being success. Yeah. And success is just progress, okay? Yeah, success is not, okay, you need like, you have to get like 10,000 Rand a month like next month, or you have to get that promotion. It's more about, it's just progress. Yeah. Progress in who you are, because if you make progress, you're achieving so much more in who you are and your lifetime. Because 100%. What I've realized is your life is a story, and what story you want to tell is all based on you. You're responsible 100%. So that kind of relates to your business side. Sorry for my long answer there, but yeah, so with the business side, I would have to say there is a lot of similarities. Your mindset has to be in the game. With your mindset, you have to think like a successful person. Like if you have to believe in yourself, have confidence. Don't apologize if, like, for example, like I used to do this. Like, if you get an email and you're like, oh, sorry for the late reply, rather say thank you for your patience. Yeah. Because that still retains your power, but you're still presenting yourself in that way. You're not putting yourself in an inferior state. It's fine showing compassion and saying, okay, things didn't go as planned, but you also need to realize you have to compose yourself in a certain way. And that relates also to, I think, point 2. You have to compose yourself as, you believe in what you're saying and being confident in that. So present that. I know, obviously, people, I don't know, like, you might get some people that say, appearance is not a thing, but I'm not talking about your physical appearance. I'm talking about your inner appearance. If you really know deep down, like, you are a confident person, you are achieving great things, you will actually exude that. Yeah. And it's not about, like, saying, like, you're the next best thing on, like, the next big cheese, but more about, who you're going to be. Yeah. You know who you are. And honestly, if you don't have that confidence yet, that's fine. It's just You need to faith it till you make it. Okay, I don't want to say fake it, but faith it. Like, you know, it's even with me when I started doing public speaking. For me, that was the most nerve-wracking thing I could ever think of.
Yeah.
And now for me, it's second nature. But to get here, I had to put myself out there.
Yeah, you have to.
So yeah, with business and lifestyle, it's mindset, taking the opportunities. But with business, it's also, you know, how you present yourself. And how you compose yourself.
Yeah.
Very true. Also, get in touch with knowledge that is going to benefit you. A lot of the time in business, people say, oh yeah, but I've been doing this for 10 years. I know so much better. But they haven't even looked at the charts recently of what's happening in the industry. They're just basing it on 20 years worth of experience. But as we know, the industry can change rapidly.
Yeah, it should always be learnable.
Yeah. So for me, I would have to say there's a lot of similarities between lifestyle and business.
Yeah.
But, you know, you can get the differences by, you know, what you're focusing on. Like, for example, the knowledge that you're focusing on.
Yeah.
The connections as well is a big thing as well. Surround yourself with people that are really going to elevate you. And really people you can depend on and are actually decent human beings. They're not going to try and belittle you. They're not going to be people that, you know, saying, you can't do that, because they're just, you know, putting their fears onto you.
Yeah.
But that's for them. You know, they're not actually saying stuff about you. They're just saying stuff to you of what they think that they can't do.
So true.
But on the business side as well, you've got to... So also maintaining your character and who you are, because you don't want us to be like a robot that you just fall in line in terms of how the business structure and things work.
Absolutely.
I find that also when you're speaking to people, be yourself, be relaxed. Obviously maintaining professional style, but still maintaining yourself, because yourself is unique, and you bring something. The reason you're there is because you bring something different.
I think you put up such a good point.
And that's what I find. I found originally when I started the business, I was obviously nervous. You get nervous and you build up a little bit more confidence. And then when you build up that confidence, your actually self starts to come out. So sometimes you get into bigger meetings with someone, you know, got maybe a bigger title, feel a little bit nervous. But now, because I've built up confidence in what I do, I speak with my character and how I would bring things.
Absolutely.
Some people are going to resonate with you, and some people aren't. It's just how it is.
Yeah, you have to take that risk.
Yeah,
you know?
And being yourself is the best way to show what you
100%.
can do.
Yeah.
So I thought that was something.
You actually make such a good point, because I mean, like how God made us, He made you as you. So the only way you're going to get better is be your best self.
Yeah.
You can't be somebody else.
Yeah.
Because you'll never be as good as that person if you're just trying to imitate someone else.
No,
that's very true.
Just be a second-rate version of that person, rather than be the best version of yourself.
Yeah, because you know, just by being your best self, you could go to places that you never even thought that you didn't even dream of.
Yeah.
God has got such amazing plans for us, and
we're all unique.
Yeah, we're all unique. Got all different, you know, desires, passions, dreams, and I've realized that God has such prosperous plans for us, and if we just stick to it, you know, not just for 2 weeks to 6 months, if you actually stick to it for 5 years, where could you be in 5 years with your dream?
Sticking to something is also very very good. Sticking to something that maybe you felt connected to, that you want to work on or you want to do. I think that's quite important, because you will see the fruits, you'll see the growth. 100%,
yeah. No, it's really true. So thanks for actually putting also that into perspective as well, because it's true. You know, like all these points that we're saying, they're all important.
Okay. Cool.
Great stuff, guys. Thanks so much for those answers. But got a couple of questions from Daniel, who unfortunately, he's in Namibia, a bit busy at the moment. The Namibian questions. Yes. So he had a couple of questions for you guys, as well. So, Josh, what he wanted to ask you was, having started the 5AM club, you know, like sometime earlier last year, you know, did you have any expectations for the club's growth when you first started it? And the growth up to date, does it exceed those expectations that you might have had in the beginning?
I think I obviously thought it was going to grow. That's
why you started.
Good, we started off with like 3 people for a while. 3 people. But it slowly grew.
Who are those 3 OGs? Give them a shout out.
I think it was myself, Damon,
And Claire.
and Claire.
Wonderful.
Yeah. But this was before we even formed 5AM. So 5AM was still a mere seed.
Yeah.
and then it started off like that. And then those two faded away. And then I got my dad and Natalie. And it was just us three for a good while. And then it slowly started to pick up from there. And what was the second question?
Just how has the growth that you've seen where it is now, has that exceeded those expectations that you might have had in the beginning?
So it definitely. So I had goals.
Yeah.
Please try again.
Sorry.
No problem.
I had goals, but yeah, sorry. I had goals, but they exceeded the goals that I had. I didn't. I mean, the goals were quite. Some of them were quite, big, and then you look back at the goals you've written down, and you're like, wow, we did that.
Yeah.
All in the space of like the beginning year, which was incredible to see. We don't use incredible.
Yeah, we don't use incredible
It's
anymore.
incredible.
Otherwise, it means it's not reliable, not believable.
Oh, you're right, yeah. Fair enough.
So we also learned that. Probably, when did we? Sorry, this is a little bit off topic. When did we start actually focusing on what we used with our words?
Oh gosh,
That was early. End of last year.
Yeah, it was.
We obviously were trying, but more so now. We actually picked up even with 5AM. When someone says,
yeah,
I can't do it.
It started. It started in July, and then it just progressed radically towards the end of last year.
Yeah.
Where we focused a lot on our words because your subconscious is constantly eavesdropping on what you're saying.
Yeah.
So if you keep saying you can't do something, then you're not going to do it because your subconscious believes that and will make sure you don't do it.
Yeah.
Very crazy. Anyway, yes.
Yeah, it is important.
It's very, very interesting. And I used to think, because Kayla started on it, and I was like, no, man. It's like, I'm not going to say that. Just.
Yeah, I used to make him say things out loud. So he was like, yeah, but I really want to achieve this. I'm like, so then say it. And I was like, come on, let's stand up and say it. He's like, why must I say it out loud? He was like, I know in my mind. I was like, you have to tell your mind.
Yeah, it's funny how these things, like in the beginning, you can be so opposed to it.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
like, or you think it's just weird, to sit and meditate.
Oh, yeah,
to, start journaling or all these kind of things. But like, as soon as you start, you just reap the benefits.
Yeah, my parents thought I was loco, like literally.
Then they start getting into it. Your mom started. Yeah. No, but it's all important. So it definitely it did exceed the goals.
Yeah.
But I did have those goals in place.
That's good.
So I think, and then just looking back, like I wrote them down. I had them there. I was gonna go do them regardless. But it was just nice to see that I actually wrote them down and come back. Oh, we actually achieved that. We achieved that. And then obviously there was more things on there that we've done that weren't written down, but we had done it.
Awesome.
I think there's one more question under that.
No, that's perfect, man. Yeah, no, let's hear it, man.
Yeah, it's definitely been a very interesting journey. It's just nice to see how God just brings different things.
Yeah.
And that you always get the result.
Yeah.
If it's really in line with God's purpose and you know that God wants you to do it, it will work 100%.
That's it.
Yeah.
But if it's a desire of yours that you think you would like, then it's not 100%.
No, you're right. Yeah.
But also with that, I've realized is if you wanted to achieve something, you have to make it your own opportunity. You have to create it. You can't depend on someone else to give you it. And I've seen it in a lot with graduates. They get out of university and they beg for a job. They beg. They don't have value for their time or their skills. Instead, they're begging companies to take them instead of saying, hang on, what opportunities and skills do I have?
Yeah, telling them.
And then they're like, okay, how can I market myself based on the opportunity? Like, for example, I'm the success strategist now. I created that opportunity for me. But with that, I always find that if you want an opportunity to work 100% of the time, it has to be your initiative.
Yeah.
You can't depend on anybody else.
There's a lot that comes down onto your shoulders when when you want to do something.
Yeah.
It's nice to have someone there to rely on.
But oftentimes people will let you down. Unfortunately,
we're human.
Yeah, exactly.
So
sometimes their vision doesn't align with your they don't align with your vision.
Yeah.
Or they don't see it, so then they're not. But when you do get someone that does see the vision, that does help a lot. But they are rare. to find.
Very true.
That's why when you get more around with successful people, birds of a feather flock together. You start to find more of your circle.
Great stuff. Yeah, and you had another question for Kayla. This is quite a deep one, but I think it's also a good one. Yeah. So you said, being a personal coach and a brain strategist, you said you have to keep a certain frame of positivity and enthusiasm. I'm sure that's something that you have to uphold. How do you keep that kind of frame, especially when you're going through a rough patch in your own personal life? How do you keep that frame to other people? But even if you might be going through something internally.
I think that's a really relevant question, because I think people always see like the good side. They always see. I mean, for me personally, everybody just sees you as a happy person.
Expectations of you.
I mean, like I've always been known as a happy person. No one's really actually seen me sad or anything. Like with certain people have never seen me sad. But anyway, but the thing is, we're human. We literally do have those times where we feel down, or if we can feel a bit like, oh my word, is this too much? So for me, it's very much pushing on. That's been a huge thing for me, just pushing on, showing up and doing it, and not letting my emotions get in the way. I find that because emotions, they can be huge distractions. Sure. And sometimes it's the devil telling you a lie, and you have to actually go like, you know what? No, I actually am this. It's like I saw the word impossible, and they said, how can anything be impossible when it says I'm possible? And I was like, oh gosh, that's very cool. So for me, it's like actually having the right perspective. I literally self-talk. I motivate myself up. That's how I get hyped, is actually with my self-talk. So awesome. Like if I'll go like, I can do this, I'm great, I'm going to achieve great things, I'm achieving everything I set my mind to. I started even doing daily decorations with 5 a.m. Like before we run, to keep that fire up. And for you to penetrate your subconscious mind and like allow for you to push on even when your emotions try and get you down. And when it looks like it's not going the way you want, just by you pushing over, you could see on top of the horizon like, oh, okay, it is going according to plan. I don't have to worry. So for me is self-talk, have to motivate yourself, like get yourself up and running, be hyped, be that person in your room where you're like dancing to your music and you say, I could do this. But then at the same time actually doing the work, because
you're a cheerleader.
Yeah, but the thing is, you can't just do cheerleading. No. I mean, you have to.
You can do it.
Yeah, like you actually have to do the work. And for me, at one point in time, I was literally just self-talking. I wasn't doing the work, and I was like, why do I feel so unfulfilled? Why do I feel like my cup isn't overflowing? That I can pass on to others. And it was because I wasn't doing the work. I was just self-talking. So you have to. Your self-talk is literally motivated by your action. Words only have power if you keep your word.
But
so that for me was...
There was a realization today as well. If you you cannot have the action without the word.
No.
Because your word... So, for example, I can't, you're never gonna.
No.
As soon as you say I can, then there becomes action. There obviously is that step to that process, but I thought that was quite cool.
Yeah, no. We're South Africans, remember? Not South Africans.
Yeah. It's quite interesting.
Yeah, no, it's very true. So for me, I mean, I've had times like that where I've been like, is it working out? Am I seeing what I want? But that's the whole best thing about having faith in what you're doing. Faith is action, and doing it, even with you believing, like you've got a small grain of a small seed of faith, and continuing anyway. And you're like, okay, like I feel, scared about this opportunity. It's quite big, okay, or like, okay, I feel like, it might not be going the same way, or something's happening, but I'm focusing on this. Just keep pushing on, because you will see it come to fruition. I mean, there's always going to be distractions, and emotions just unfortunately has to be one of them. When we do successful things, emotions can sometimes come into play. People's, talk could come into play. It's just about you staying focused and keeping the distractions away. That's why I also say don't tell your dreams and goals to other people. Because if if you want to achieve it, you can't tell other people, because then otherwise you've just gotten recognition for it.
Trying to
One,
bring that
and
down.
two is they can actually put doubt into your dreams and
No,
goals.
doubt's the biggest one.
Doubt is massive, because when it starts to penetrate, then you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
And I even realized with one of my activities, I had this activity where I said, okay, guys, we're going to have like this amazing week where we actually do something which is out of our comfort zone. And I made like a WhatsApp group for us to kind of share what we were going to do.
Yes.
But I made the mistake of them sharing their seeds before they did it.
I see.
Instead of, they should have shared their seeds after. So what happened was, during that test, which we did, a lot of people didn't actually do the things they were planning to do, because they had already spoken it and told people. They got that recognition already.
Sure.
So I know from personal experience, it's so much better to actually do it first, and then you can say it.
Keep
If
it to
you,
yourself.
yeah, if you're investing in something, keep it to yourself.
Very true.
Yeah, because unless if you've got like a partner, or if you've got like someone that you can really trust, don't tell. Literally, it's like, don't give your pearls to the swine.
Sure.
That is like the best scripture, because it literally
Yeah.
explains like how you cannot give your dreams to small minds. They cannot process that information.
Yeah.
Um,
Super important. So there's one question I also had for you guys. A couple more. So yeah, I think something that I've always, when I was younger, I remember that I just was someone who was quite like shy and soft-spoken, but I always dreamt bigger. I wanted to be someone who was able to take leadership and that kind of stuff. And when I look at you two guys, honestly, like, it's so cool how you guys are able to have leadership. I mean, Josh, you're obviously running the 5AM club, but people, look up to you in that space, and you take leadership of those situations. And same with you, Kayla. You're able to do public speaking and speak in front of a boardroom full of people who have years of experience, but you're able to give them advice and that kind of stuff. So I want to ask, what is your advice on how you actually are able to carry influence with people? Because I think there's a lot of people who look at that, and that's something that they want. So that was me when I was younger. I wanted to be able to carry these positions of leadership, but I just didn't know how to. Now I'm able in that position as well, where I do a few things where I lead a church, and I trying to do get more and more involved in that. But what's your advice on like how you can actually take leadership in situations and carry influence over people? Because that's something that you guys do.
So for me, this is, I think, for me, would be the best answer. I mean, Josh, happily to contribute in this, jump in. But like, I just like, when you spoke this to me, I was like,
what you're gonna say.
when you spoke this, I was like, oh gosh, I literally thought about this. But literally, if you look between you, Mike, Josh, and me, there's one common denominator. Why we're influential. It's because we help people.
Sure.
If you help people, you gain influence.
Wow.
There's no other way you can gain influence.
Sure.
You cannot buy it. You cannot boss people around.
Wow.
The only way you gain influence is by helping people. And when you help people, they buy into you.
Wow.
That's the only way you can gain influence, is by helping people.
So what you
Very
read?
good answer. Yeah.
Read what you said.
Yeah, no, it's literally
Yeah.
that. I mean, you cannot gain influence any other way.
Very
If
true.
you are genuinely there for someone's actual benefit,
Yeah.
and you
Wow.
actually genuinely want to help them, you will find such a greater following than anybody else. Like, literally the 3 pillars of trust is literally benevolence, so having like the best person's interests at heart, knowing what you're talking about, and keeping your word.
It's very true. Yeah, I've noticed that. Keep
So
your word,
That's a
so
big one.
that's the 3 pillars of trust.
Yeah.
So
Cape Townians struggle with that.
that's why for us,
Last minute.
but
Not coming.
see, that's why I always say we're a different lineage.
Yeah.
And we leave a lineage to the next generation. But yeah, for me, is influence. It's actually serving others.
Yeah.
That's how you're going to get influence.
That's awesome. Yeah, servant leadership is great. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think with just on the confidence side, and just being able to speak out and speak to people is just coming down to just jumping in, just doing it. Even if you mess up, it's okay. You get the experience, you learn from it, and you adapt and you change and you mold yourself and you grow.
100%.
And the confidence will come. I've been in multiple meetings where we have said the wrong thing or something like that, but you literally take it, learn from it.
Yeah.
But if you never did it, you'll never learn from it.
Yeah.
And you'll never grow.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
the consequences of not doing it is much
It's
worse.
so
It's
much
much worse,
greater. That's
I mean, I've been in meetings. When I first started out, the guy, when I was selling air conditioning components, they gave me this 3-page list, and I did not know maybe 3 or 4 things on that list. I went to my first meeting, put it on the table. I said, "Listen, this is what we're selling." The guy could have asked me, "What's this?" I have no idea, but that's what I'm selling. I said my pricing's good, and this is what I've got. I can sell you that. Do you
exactly
need that?
Yeah.
And that's how it grew. And then from there, if I didn't, I mean, I could have. I struggle with going and studying. I like to just go and.
You take action.
I like to take action, just learn off my actions.
Awesome.
It's probably sometimes not the best way to learn because there's errors and mistakes and stuff like that. Maybe we should probably be avoided. But that's the way I learn.
It's amazing.
I'd
Yeah.
rather just
But
go out
see,
and do it.
That's what your thing is. It's like, you take the opportunity and then you learn from it.
Yeah.
So that's how you learn. So,
Yeah.
but even speaking with you, Michael, it's like, when I was younger, I was also very quiet. I used to hide behind my mom. I didn't chat to people. I was very shy. I didn't talk up until I think like 13. I used to become more chatty. And then literally then I was still nervous, still very shy, kind of kept to myself, looked down a lot when people were speaking to me. And now doing like public speaking and stuff, years later, after somebody said I could never do leadership. So, I mean, it just shows you that you are what you believe.
It's a muscle that you
So,
have to exercise.
like you
as
say,
well.
like like both of us, all 3 of us, we have literally been wanting to achieve greater things in life and actually achieve and actually fulfill our purpose. And I think that's so important, is to keep that belief, and for me, I think it's actually also because I didn't tell anybody. And I just kept going. And just like taking the opportunities as you go along. Like I genuinely think if my younger self had to see me now, they wouldn't believe it. Because I was so shy. I didn't want to be in the limelight. I didn't want to do any of that.
Yeah.
So if you push on and take the opportunities, like you say, like take the jump, you really can achieve some great things.
It's awesome. And I wanted to talk as well, like just a little bit about. I mean, we touched on it already. The role of our faith and what and keeping God. So like I wanted to say. So we try to do it here at Ben yesterday as well. Is just always bringing that in, but especially keeping. You got to keep Christ at the center of what you do. Obviously our careers play a big role in what we're trying to do. But I mean, what I've noticed is that you guys do that. I've seen with the 5am you've opened up the 5am Life, which is a place where people can come and share and get and learn about the Word of God as well. And then I see also in your post, you're not afraid to like put God in there, and like what is a way that you can practically put God at the center of what you're doing. And maybe some challenges, that come along with that. I'm sure I can also touch on it because, it's not always easy to put God at the center. But as Christians, that's what we're called to do.
Yeah. I would have to say, don't try and make it a religious thing. A lot of people say, like, I was speaking to someone the other day, and they said, they just want to be, God's there, and they're just being, like, they're just present. The only problem is that they weren't taking action. And, the only way to please God is with faith, and faith is action. So in their life, they didn't see as much of the results as that they wanted to achieve. But I would have to say, with God, all you have to know is that He genuinely loves you and He wants you to prosper.
Yeah.
If you know that and you
sure,
genuinely believe that deep down, you will excel in life because you'll know that when you take an opportunity, He's got your back. That if there's something like a big opportunity where it's a big financial investment or if it's a big time investment, like you really this is a big step, you'll know that God's right behind you. And if He says, like with me, I always confirm with God before I go into something, like, is this an opportunity I should take?
Yeah.
All of the companies that I've been affiliated with, I've always asked beforehand, should I go for this?
Sure.
Because the more He is in your life, the better your life is.
Yeah.
He always knows what you want. And He always knows the best for you, which is fantastic. I mean, like, He's literally your best friend, which you can talk to any time.
Yeah.
I mean, angels, they have to get appointments to talk to God. We can literally hot dial God and say, what color should I make my room?
Yeah, we should be in that constant communication. Yeah.
Constant communication is so key.
He's in there for
But
the
you'll
small things
only
as well.
you'll only know his tone is when you actually read scriptures and see what he's like. Like when I started out as a Christian, I thought he was high and mighty on the throne and he's judging you. And I was like, I was nervous, scared. I felt like I had to always please. I was walking on eggshells. When in fact, he's just a loving God Father that just wants to talk to you. He's like your best friend, father, and support group all at the same time. And if you want to be successful, all success principles are actually mentioned in the Bible.
Yeah.
Every single one. Which is fantastic. Like you could literally
the best blueprint you could find.
It's the best one. Like you don't even have to get you can get a success development book, whatever, but you will see correlations.
Yeah.
It's like, for example, all successful people give 10% of their income, to people. They give it to other people to help them.
That's their seed, yeah.
That's their seed.
Sure.
And that's the thing. Do you know that tithing is in the Bible?
Yeah.
That's protecting your crop. That's allowing for you to see an overflow of an abundance in your life. And these are from the most wealthiest people in the world, and they're doing that.
Even giving into something. So say this guy wants to buy a car, and you want to buy a car, but you see this guy wants to buy a car. You give that person seed so that he can grow, and in return you yield.
Yeah.
And seed is amazing because it can either be service, time, or money.
Yeah.
It's basically an amount that is significant to you, and you can invest that to someone. But you do that out of the goodness of your heart and when you feel like you want to. Don't force yourself to do it, otherwise it's not going to work. It must be prompted. Like you feel this urge to help this person.
Amen.
But for me, it's having God constant communication, and it's basically just having just going, God, what color should I make my room? Or during the day, God, I'm gonna get a reply back from that email. It doesn't have to be you're talking to him all the time, 24/7, but it's here and now,
it's
very natural.
That's how you build a relationship. It's spending time with the person.
It's like you're literally in a flat with someone. You're not going to speak to them every minute of every day. You're going to speak to them casually and naturally. The best example for me was actually the color of my room. I asked him and I said, God, what color should I make my room? And my room at the time was black and white, back from the 2010s days where silver and black were very in. And that was not me at all. I love color. And I was like, what color should I make it? And I was really thinking he was probably going to say casual blues or whatever. He was bright yellow. And I was like, what? I was like, no, come on. And I was like, but then I realized he knows what I like best, even when I can't see it. So then I was like, okay, let's go down this route. And it literally for 2 weeks, my mom and I looked at different shades of yellow. And it got to the point where we saw orange shades to lime green shades. But we got to this point where we actually, in the end, took two colors which we liked and created a new color by mixing them together and putting it on my wall. He created a whole new color for my room, which was in yellow. But it was a totally different shade, a created shade. So that created opportunity again. Yeah. But God created that, and now that's my favorite color of all time. I have that everywhere. I want yellow everywhere because I see how good that color is to me because I was like, God was so good to me.
Yeah.
So the color in the life is just showing how God is the best thing you could ever invest in because you're protected, you're saved, you're favored. Every opportunity you're in, you are favored. And you don't have to worry about a thing.
Yeah, it's the least we can do, for all the things that he does for us, to put him at the center. Yeah, it's the least we can do. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, keeping, I think, even obviously 5AM, there's the obviously the God-given vision there.
Yeah, amen.
It's obviously we have Christians and non-Christians.
Yeah.
So the idea is just to have that open spot where people can just come and chat about it if you want to.
Yeah.
Or if you want to know more, we're there.
Yeah.
We're not coming across as a pushy or anything like that.
No.
We give God the platform to use.
Yeah.
And that's how we come across. And obviously you can see the God principles and the way we talk, the way we act, the way we do things. That's, you can see it, and then it'll grow. People will start to notice things. I mean, we are very different compared to anything out there, I think.
I must say, because Christians aren't meant to be pushy. We're just meant to love people. and show them
Help
the
them,
same
yeah.
decency and respect that you're meant to, and show them wisdom if they ask.
Yeah.
You know, or if they're in a situation, they're like, Kayla, I need help on this, and I give like a success tip, but that's also related to the word. You know, it's how you apply it in your life. It's beautiful because you can totally tailor it to your life. You can, but my thing is you have to know a bit of the word to actually apply it.
Yeah.
I just got this realization now when you're giving these people these small little tips, you know, that are from the Bible, just little snippets. And then the one day, for example, they head to church or they hear a word being preached or something like that. What? I've been doing that my entire life. I've been learning that from way back. Like when I just started 5AM, I was doing those declarations. That's exactly, and then they can resonate with that, which is quite cool. I just got that little bit of realization.
Yeah, that's amazing.
You don't know the impact you're having on people
That's the thing,
now.
you don't see it. You don't see
Until
it.
much later.
Yeah.
So you just see small snippets, but you know, there's the ultimate picture that.
That's actually so true.
It's
Yeah.
Awesome.
So that's also the thing about influence again. You're serving.
Yeah.
You're being a good person by serving. But obviously know your limits. If the person's toxic,
Yeah.
let them sort themselves out.
So true.
You can pray for them and you can say, you know, but they're also
fire down, no, sorry, wrong.
like you can pray for them and stuff, but don't feel like you have to put yourself in dangerous situations.
Yeah.
You know, if like Jenny, just want to make sure I put that out there. You know, also make sure to get your circle right.
So important, yeah. The people that you have in your life are incredibly important. But yeah, guys, it's been amazing to have this conversation with you guys. Can't wait to
Thanks for having us.
share this. Yeah, no, honestly. And but I just wanted to ask a final question. So you know, I honestly feel like you guys are just at the beginning, you know, of the journeys that you guys are going on. So what sort of is the vision moving forward for Josh and Kayla? Like what can we expect in the future? You know, because excited to see where you guys are going, and hopefully we'll have you guys on at another point. But what's the vision moving forward for you two?
Do you want me to explain first?
Yeah, you go.
Okay, so for 5AM, the idea is to take a working model here in the Blouberg area,
Awesome.
Blouberg, Milton, Tableview, Melkbos area. Take this model and replicate it in different areas. So, for example, Sea Point throughout the whole of Cape Town into South Africa and potentially the world. And wherever you go, you know, listen, I'm landing in New York, for example, and what's happening around here? Let me call up the 5AM guys. Those are the guys I relate with. They've got the same mindset as me.
Sure.
They understand what I like, what I'm doing, and you know, you can go chat to them, and it's the same style that's just replicated everywhere.
Community.
Exactly. So that is the ultimate vision.
That's exciting. That's exciting.
So, but yeah, there's so many different things in the pipeline. Like the worship evening that we're looking at launching. I'm hoping to bring a lot of churches together in that, bringing new people into that, and it's
Wonderful.
It's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, like that's actually really amazing. So,
Only the beginning.
yeah, it is. And for me, I would have to say is I want to help more people.
Awesome.
For me, it's, you know, the fact that, you know, success is unlimited and people can achieve really anything and there's room enough for everybody. There's no competition. I want to help more people around the world. And for me is that if someone feels like they genuinely need help with something, that they can say, hey, listen, can you help me with this, whether it be mindset, whether it be putting things into action, whether it be getting a nice routine up and running, a success routine. That for me is actually getting more people inclined with this information, because I know how much it's changed our lives, and I know how much it can really
100%.
impact someone else's life too.
Awesome.
It's definitely been an interesting journey.
Oh yeah.
No, guys, thanks so much.
Thank you for having
that we
us.
couldn't have Daniel with us, but I love the conversation. Hope you guys listening have enjoyed the conversation, and I'll be putting all your guys' links in the descriptions of where they can find you guys and just connect, get a part of the 5AM, link up with the Success Strategist. But if everyone that's been listening, thank you guys so much, and much love from Better Than Yesterday.